You are losing something right now, and you probably do not even realize it. Every time you chase approval, every time you sacrifice your standards for temporary attention, every time you allow desire to control your decisions, you give away a piece of your power. The most dangerous traps are not the ones you can see. They are the ones that feel good while they are destroying you. Many men believe their biggest enemies are outside of them. They blame bad luck, bad relationships, unfair circumstances, or people who never appreciated them. But the deeper truth is far more uncomfortable. The world does not need to defeat you directly. It only needs to understand your patterns. A predictable man is easy to influence. A man who cannot control his impulses can be controlled by anyone who understands those impulses. And throughout history, human beings have always been manipulated through their deepest desires, their fears, and their hunger for validation. The modern man is surrounded by endless stimulation, endless temptation, endless opportunities to trade his future for a few seconds of pleasure. But this is not a message about rejecting desire. Desire is part of being human. This is about mastering it before it masters you. Because the moment you lose control over yourself, someone else gains control over you. Carl Jung spent his life studying the hidden forces inside the human mind. He explored the unconscious desires, the shadows, and the parts of ourselves we refuse to confront. He was not interested in comforting people. He was interested in revealing what was hidden. Jung understood that the greatest battles are often fought in silence, inside the mind of the individual. As Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." And this is where most men lose, not because they are weak, because they never learned to see the invisible forces controlling them. The first trap is confusing sexual attention with personal value. Many men spend years believing that if they can attract enough attention, they will finally feel powerful. They chase validation from women, from social media, from anyone who can temporarily make them feel important. But attention is not respect. A man can receive endless attention and still feel empty when he is alone. You have probably seen this before. A man changes his personality, his appearance, his opinions, and even his goals just to maintain someone's interest. He slowly becomes a performer instead of a person. The dark psychology behind this is simple. When your identity depends on someone else's reaction, you become controlled by their approval. You are no longer choosing, you are reacting. The solution is not to stop caring about relationships. The solution is to build a life where attention becomes a bonus, not your source of oxygen. Build yourself so strongly that love adds to your life instead of becoming the thing that defines it. Drop this in the comments. I will never beg for validation again. The second trap is allowing fantasy to replace reality. The human mind is powerful, but it can also become your prison. Many men do not fall in love with a person. They fall in love with an image they created. They imagine someone will complete them. They imagine a relationship will solve their loneliness. They imagine another person will finally make them feel enough. Then reality arrives, and reality does not match the fantasy. This is where many men become trapped. They ignore warning signs because they are attached to the dream, not the person. Jung understood that humans often project their own unconscious desires onto others. We see what we want to see. We create illusions, then suffer when those illusions collapse. The practical lesson is brutal but necessary. Stop asking, "How badly do I want this person?" Start asking, "Is this person aligned with the life I am building?" Your emotions can guide you, but they should never be your master. The third trap is sacrificing your mission for temporary pleasure. History is filled with men who had potential but abandoned their purpose because they became addicted to comfort. A man starts with ambition. He wants to create, build, improve, and become someone greater. Then distractions appear. A relationship becomes the center of his universe. Pleasure becomes his priority. Discipline disappears. Slowly, he forgets the person he wanted to become. The dark psychology is that immediate rewards are powerful because the human brain naturally prefers what feels good now over what creates strength later. A weak moment today can steal years from tomorrow. The solution is not becoming emotionless. The solution is remembering that your mission must remain yours. A relationship should walk beside your purpose, not replace it. Drop this in the comments. My future deserves more than my impulses. The fourth trap is confusing possession with connection. Many men believe love means control. They think if someone belongs to them, they are secure. But insecurity creates obsession. Obsession creates fear. And fear destroys the very connection you are trying to protect. A man who is terrified of losing someone gives away his own power. His thoughts become controlled by another person's actions. His mood depends on another person's behavior. That is not love. That is dependence. A strong relationship is not built between two people who cannot survive without each other. It is built between two people who choose each other freely. The difference is everything. When you choose someone from strength, you create connection. When you choose someone from fear, you create a cage. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. The fifth trap is ignoring your own shadow. Every man has a darker side: anger, jealousy, desire, pride, insecurity. The mistake is not having these emotions. The mistake is pretending they do not exist. The parts of yourself you refuse to confront do not disappear. They operate from the shadows. A man who refuses to understand his jealousy becomes controlled by jealousy. A man who refuses to understand his anger becomes controlled by anger. A man who refuses to understand his desires becomes controlled by his desires. Jung believed that growth comes from integrating the hidden parts of yourself, not pretending they are not there. The strongest men are not men without darkness. They are men who know exactly where their darkness lives. Drop this in the comments. I control my shadow before it controls me. The sixth trap is giving away your standards to avoid rejection. This is one of the most destructive patterns a man can develop. He knows something is wrong, but he stays. He knows he is being disrespected, but he accepts it. He knows he is becoming someone he does not recognize, but he continues because he fears being alone. But loneliness is temporary. Losing yourself is far more expensive. The world teaches men to chase acceptance. But powerful men understand something different. Not everyone deserves access to you. Your time has value. Your attention has value. Your energy has value. When you protect these things, you teach others how to treat you. The seventh trap is believing your desires are your identity. You are not your urges. You are not your impulses. You are not every thought that enters your mind. The difference between a controlled man and a controlled person is simple. One observes his desires, the other obeys them. Every day you are training yourself. Every decision is a vote for the person you are becoming. The question is not whether you have desires. The question is whether you command them. Because a man who cannot command himself will always be commanded by something else. Now, understand this. The goal is not to become cold. The goal is not to hate relationships. The goal is not to reject human connection. The goal is to become the kind of man who enters relationships from strength instead of desperation. A man who knows himself cannot easily be manipulated. A man who understands his mind cannot easily be controlled. A man who masters himself becomes dangerous, not because he wants to destroy others, but because he can no longer be destroyed by his own weaknesses. The old you is dead. The version of you that chased approval, ignored your instincts, abandoned your mission, and surrendered your power for temporary pleasure is gone. You are not here to repeat the same patterns. You are not here to live as a prisoner of your own impulses. You are a weapon pointed at your own future, but a weapon without discipline destroys itself. Your power comes from control. Your strength comes from awareness. Your freedom comes from knowing that your mind belongs to you. You belong to no one, not your fears, not your addictions, not your past. Not the opinions of people who never understood your potential. You decide who you become. You decide what you tolerate. You decide where your life goes next. If you choose to continue this journey, subscribe, not because you are following someone else, but because you are making a decision for yourself. A sovereign man chooses what enters his mind. A sovereign man chooses what shapes his future. So answer this honestly in the comments. What is the one desire you allowed to control you for too long? The hardest battle a man will ever fight is not against another person. It is against the version of himself that wants comfort more than growth. Because comfort whispers. It tells you that tomorrow is a better time to change. It tells you that one more distraction does not matter. It tells you that one more compromise is harmless, but small compromises become identity, and identity becomes destiny. This is why so many men wake up years later and wonder where their ambition disappeared. They did not lose it in one dramatic moment. They traded it away slowly, one excuse at a time, one distraction at a time. One decision to choose pleasure over purpose at a time. The dangerous part is that these traps rarely look like traps. They look like freedom. They look like happiness. They look like success. But anything that controls you is not freedom. Anything you cannot walk away from owns a part of you. This is the hidden lesson most people never learn. Your greatest enemy is not temptation itself. Your greatest enemy is unconsciousness. A man who does not understand himself will always be vulnerable to anyone who does. Someone can predict your reactions. Someone can trigger your emotions. Someone can influence your choices, not because they are more powerful than you, because you have not studied yourself. The ancient philosophers understood this. Before you conquer the outside world, you must first conquer the battlefield inside your own mind. Your emotions are a battlefield. Your desires are a battlefield. Your fears are a battlefield. And every day you either become the commander of that battlefield or you become the soldier controlled by it. Think about the man who constantly seeks approval. He enters every room wondering if people respect him. He changes himself depending on who is watching. He measures his worth through reactions. But the man who has mastered himself walks differently. He does not need to announce his value. He does not need to prove his strength. His actions speak before his words ever do. This is the difference between confidence and performance. Confidence comes from knowing yourself. Performance comes from needing others to believe something about you. The world rewards the first and exploits the second. Drop this in the comments. My worth is created by me, not given by others. There is another trap that destroys men silently. The trap of emotional addiction. Many men think addiction only means substances, but the mind can become addicted to anything. Attention, drama, validation, chasing someone who does not choose you. The cycle becomes familiar. You feel empty. You seek a person or experience to fill the emptiness. You get temporary relief. Then the emptiness returns. So you repeat the cycle, over and over, until you forget what peace feels like. The uncomfortable truth is that some men are not attached to a person. They are attached to the emotional chaos that person creates. They confuse intensity with connection. They confuse anxiety with passion. They confuse obsession with love. But peace is not boring. Peace is what happens when you finally stop fighting yourself. A powerful man does not need constant emotional storms to feel alive. He creates meaning. He creates purpose. He creates discipline. And from that foundation, he chooses relationships instead of needing them. Because there is a massive difference between wanting someone and needing someone. Wanting comes from strength. Needing comes from fear. One creates attraction. The other creates dependence. The next trap is believing that pleasure is the reward for success. Many men delay becoming great because they constantly chase the feeling of already being great. They want the lifestyle before earning the discipline. They want the respect before building the character. They want the results without the transformation. But reality does not work that way. You cannot fake the foundation. Eventually, life tests everything: your discipline, your patience, your ability to control yourself when nobody is watching. Because that is where character is built, not in public, in private, when there is no applause, when nobody knows, when nobody cares. That is when you discover who you really are. Drop this in the comments. I build myself when nobody is watching. The final trap is forgetting that your life is yours. Society will constantly try to program you. It will tell you what success looks like. It will tell you what happiness looks like. It will tell you what kind of person you should become. But a man who never questions the script is not living. He is following instructions. Your life cannot be built around someone else's expectations. Your purpose cannot be borrowed. Your identity cannot be rented from the opinions of others. You must choose. You must decide. You must become conscious. Because the greatest tragedy is not failure. Failure can teach you. The greatest tragedy is becoming someone you never wanted to be. A man who spends his entire life chasing approval. A man who sacrifices his dreams for temporary comfort. A man who wakes up one day and realizes he built a life designed by everyone except himself. That moment is the moment of awakening. The moment when you stop asking, "How can I make everyone accept me?" and start asking, "What kind of man do I need to become?" The answer will not always be comfortable. Growth rarely is. But comfort has never created greatness. Pressure creates diamonds. Resistance creates strength. Awareness creates freedom. The old patterns are waiting for you every morning. They want you distracted. They want you reactive. They want you easy to predict. But you now understand the game. You see the mechanisms. You see the traps. And once you see something clearly, you cannot pretend you do not know. The old you is dead. The man who surrendered his focus, his discipline, and his identity to temporary desires is finished. You are not here to be controlled. You are not here to be manipulated. You are not here to live according to impulses created by someone else. You are a weapon, pointed at your own future. But remember this, the most powerful weapon is useless without a master. Your mind must become your command center. Your values must become your foundation. Your discipline must become your shield. You belong to no one. You belong to your mission. You belong to your growth. You belong to the future version of yourself that is waiting to be created. The question is no longer whether you have potential. The question is whether you are willing to protect it. Because every man has a moment when he chooses. A moment when he either returns to the same old patterns or finally becomes the person he was capable of becoming. So before you leave this video, ask yourself one final question. If nobody could judge you, nobody could praise you, and nobody could control you, who would you finally choose to become?